So Justin's going to have some really important information to share with you guys. Justin does a ton of research. He just works his tail off. He lives and breathes F4WM. Just listen closely to what he has to say. He can teach you a lot about wolves and what the wolves are doing, legislatively what we're doing. Justin just has a ton of good information, and we need to be telling our friends and co-workers and other people about this stuff. So let me introduce Justin Webb, our Executive Director.
Thank you, everybody. You guys hear me all right? Super. Well, welcome. For those that don't know me, my name is Justin Webb. I'm blessed to get to serve as the Executive Director for the Foundation for Wildlife Management. Super excited to be in a new town. First off, what do you guys think about the work this volunteer crew put into this banquet? I think they did an excellent job. Super excited to be here in Bozeman. Anytime we get the opportunity to share our message with new folks, it's a privilege and an honor, so thank you for being here. Really greatly appreciate it. If you learned something tonight about F4WM that you really appreciate, if you get to know who we are and you come to see the value in this program, please join. If you're not a member already, you can fill out a membership form at the front desk before you check out and turn that in with the ladies. This chapter also could use a handful of volunteers. I can tell you that for a startup event, this is the first time we've ever been here in Bozeman. This is a phenomenal event. Really appreciate all you guys coming out. But the chapter could use a hand. There's some note cards on your table. If you want to know how you can better get involved and be more a part of this program, please fill those cards out and drop them off with the ladies up front. We'd sure love to have you be part of the team. So why are we all here tonight? Who is the Foundation for Wildlife Management? And what are we doing, right? People, it shocks me how often in my own hometown of Sandpoint, Idaho, where we started in 2011, how many people that I went to school with or grew up hunting with, and I run into them on the street, and they say, gosh, it's good to see you. What have you been up to? And I say, well, the F4WM program's really been keeping me busy. And they say, what's that? And it's shocking to me how few people know who F4WM is. And I've had a couple of you come up to me this evening already and say, gosh, I can't believe I never heard of this before. So this is my ask. You guys have contacts here. You know the people in this valley. I don't. We would love it if you'd be willing to take this message forward with you and share it with your friends and family, co-workers, people that you think would be passionate to hear our message. They need to hear from you, and I need your help getting the word out. So I'd really greatly appreciate your support in that regard. F4WM is a 501c3 nonprofit founded in 2011 by a grassroots group of backcountry elk hunters who were trying to mitigate the negative impacts of wolf overabundance. Started in 2011, we got our 501c3 in 2012. We're a very unique organization in that over 60% of the funding generated goes right back into the pockets of our hardworking membership. All 11 chapters of F4WM are one organization working to promote ungulate recovery, deer, elk, and moose, for those that don't know, where it's needed the most. We've grown to over 3,700 members spanning 45 states. Most of those members live or recreate in Montana or Idaho. 1,477 of those members are Montana residents. That grassroots effort has successfully removed 2,768 wolves to date, with $2,799,000 generated by sportsmen, ranchers, and concerned citizens just like you all sitting here in this room with me. This season to date, we funded 358 wolves with $509,000. 180 of those were removed here in Montana with $170,000 plus. That's over 60% of the wolves that were harvested in the state of Montana, F4WM is financially responsible for. I'm very proud of that. Thank you. I hope you all are proud of that as well, because this isn't me doing this job. This is your program, and you are responsible for funding over 60% of the wolves removed from the areas where wolf overabundance is negatively impacting ranching and wildlife. Our efficiency is unmatched. Idaho's Wolf Depredation Control Board averages over $9,000 per wolf removed in wolf control efforts. It's 65% state tax funded. For them to remove the 2,768 wolves F4WM has removed, that would cost $24,912,000. F4WM is doing it through volunteer efforts by those who are passionate enough to put in the time and volunteer to get the job done. You bet. That's worth clapping for. That's over 16 million state general tax dollars that have been saved by F4WM volunteers. So why is this needed? Why is this so important? These maps that are going to come up on your screen there, hopefully if you don't get a chance to look at them real close while I'm talking, you can always take a look at the maps that are printed over here by the drink station after the fact. But that map that's on the screen right there, if you're not familiar with, that's the Northern Rocky Mountain Distinct Population Segment Area, the NRM DPS they call it. The recovery goal for wolves within that NRM DPS was 300 total animals. They met that goal in the year 2000. States should have taken over management at that time at 300 animals. Litigation tied them up for 9 years. 9 years. When we finally got state management of wolves, that population of 300 animals had multiplied to well over 1,500. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service stated at that time that if we maintained the 1,500 wolves that we had at that time in the NRM DPS, that would slowly deplete their natural prey base and cause chronic livestock depredation. Take a look at the next map. You might notice that Idaho is covered in green. Every green unit on that map either no longer meets elk management objectives or has suffered chronic livestock depredation for 4 out of the last 5 years. Everything they predicted has come to fruition. Now, Montana is in the middle right now of some studies trying to identify what's happened to the elk on the western border in regions 1 and 2. Idaho did those same studies years ago, and their first results came back that mountain lions were the largest impact on elk. So the question arose, well, how many lions do we have? If we know this is how many wolves that we have, we know we got an average pack of 6, average litter of 7, 30% of those packs are having more than one litter because more than one female gets bred. Each wolf consumes an average of 20 elk-sized big game animals a year. The math didn't compute. So the Houndsman Association got a grant from the Fish and Game Department to try to put collars on mountain lions to understand how it was that our mountain lion population was so great that they were a larger impact than wolves were on our elk herds. I got to visit with some of those houndsmen, and they told me that in some of those units, they struggled to find enough mountain lion tracks to even get the collars out. Meanwhile, they found wolf tracks in just about every drainage. They told me that at one point, the biologist actually said the words, "Holy crap, we don't have a lion problem, we have a wolf problem." Then if you think about the fact that part of the elk mortality study was carried out in southern Idaho, in an area where wolves seldom pass through, well, obviously that data is going to show higher numbers of elk preyed on by mountain lions than by wolves because there were no wolves around. Hopefully you're seeing the bigger picture here. Some people say, well, gosh, just open the season. That'll solve the problem, right? I hear that from the East Coast folks on social media all the time. Guys will call me up and say, well, you know, I got 3 days, I got 4 days maybe, I'm coming out there. I was wondering, should I buy 5 tags or should I go ahead and get all 10? I got 4 days, I don't want to waste my time. And it breaks my heart to have to tell them hunter success rate is less than 0.25%. If you have the opportunity to harvest a wolf, you've done a whole lot more than most people. I did some research a few years back. That year, 74,041 wolf tags were sold between Idaho and Montana. 74,041. 411 guys actually used a tag. 32 people took more than 2 wolves. Less than 0.25% is the wolf harvest success rate for hunters. Now, trappers can sometimes enjoy up to 37% success rate. But trapping is a huge undertaking. Here in the state of Montana, if you've got a full-time job, kids in school, church on Sunday, things to do, other commitments in life, you can't run a trap line for wolves every 48 hours. It's extremely, extremely difficult to do. But wait, trapping's cruel and barbaric and outdated, right? That's what the media tells you. Most people don't know or understand that the biologists, when they capture a wolf to put it in a crate and transfer it to here, Colorado, wherever it happens to be, those biologists are using the very same trap that we use today as sportsmen to control wolf overabundance. It's the same trap, same system, same mechanism, same lure, same everything. If trapping really was everything that they state that it is, would our states be using those traps to transplant wolves? Would they be using those traps to capture, collar, release, and study the same animals? I highly doubt it. As a matter of fact, for those that are familiar with trapping, you might recognize this as an MB750 wolf trap. It's the most common wolf trap on the market today. Wolf traps, by the way, are the biggest traps that you will encounter in the woods. They are the strongest. They have the strongest springs, widest jaw spread. I hear stories all the time about whether it's a young girl that was out walking her dog and she got her leg stuck in a trap and it grabbed her around the thigh and she had to drag this 6-foot log across her backyard and her dog laid there with her while she bled out and died on the steps of their house. Heard other stories of, well, I got my dog caught in a trap and it took 6 men to get it out. I've caught wolves in this trap right here. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a wolf trap. It's not fun. I don't like it. It's not something that I'm going to do on a regular basis, but I don't know how else to help you understand. Traps are designed to hold, not harm, right? If you think about the fur trade, how America was built, it was built on trapping. When you're selling a pelt and a trap has damaged it, do you think you get more money for it or less? Fur trappers don't want to injure an animal. Now, again, think about the 4 men it took to get this trap off this poor dog's foot and the little girl that got trapped around the thigh and died on her porch. I'm one-handed at this point, by the way. Folks, trapping's not what the public wants you to believe it is, and we need trapping to be able to control predator populations and other species. That's simply a tool. It's efficient, it's effective, and it's not barbaric, and all these things that are negative that everybody wants you to believe it to be. So how does this system work? Well, as I mentioned, trapping is a huge commitment. For a guy that's got other commitments, you got a full-time job, family, kids in school, kids playing sports, church on Sundays, it is so hard to try to get out there and run that trap line to be successful. Now, there's guys that are getting it figured out hunting wolves. You can call them in and shoot them. There's a lot of wolves that get shot each year. Most wolves that are harvested via hunting, however, are taken by coincidence when wolves run into them while they're deer or elk hunting. That's by far the highest number of wolves that get shot each year. That is the instance by which that happens. So if you don't have the ability to run a trap line, which is much more successful, this program provides an opportunity for you to get involved. This program, your membership, your $40 a year membership goes right in the pocket of somebody who's already given funds to put themselves on the landscape and dedicated their time and effort and energy to controlling wolves to try to help keep elk and other wildlife in abundance on the landscape. So, when you ask the question why, that's what I started this with, is why are we here tonight? I'd strongly encourage you, if you see the value in this program, I strongly encourage you to share your why. Why is this program important to you? Don't just go out and talk to somebody and say, hey, you should look into this F4WM program. Tell them why it's important to you. I can tell you why it's important to me. One of my favorite things in the whole world is hiking up a ridge in the dark and sitting down and watching the sun come up with bull elk bugling in the basins all around me. Now, I've got kids, and I've got friends who have kids and family who have kids, and I firmly believe that without controlling wolf overabundance, where they're negatively impacting big game species, the next generation is not going to have that experience. And that breaks my heart. That's my why. That's why this is important to me. I'd encourage you, if you see the value in this program, to go out and share your why. So again, for a non-trapper, somebody who doesn't have the ways and means and ability and knowledge and skill set and tools and time and energy to invest in wolf control, this program provides you a mechanism to be part of the solution. Your membership is a huge, huge benefit to those who do have that time. So what about the guy that does? Maybe he's retired, maybe he works for himself, maybe he's able to create some time to get out there in the field and run a trap line. While you and I are sitting on our couch on Thursday of Thanksgiving, watching football, playing with our kids, somebody's out there married to a trap line in a blizzard, fighting blowdowns and 6 feet of snow, trying to get traps to work so that you and I have wildlife to enjoy. Those guys, their $40 a year membership entitles them to be reimbursed for their expenses for this dollar figure that was up on the screen. If I could get that map back up there, please. For that dollar figure for each unit. Now you'll notice Idaho has $2,000 per wolf reimbursement units in all of those green zones. Montana is $1,000 in all of regions 1 and 2, and $750 in the rest of the state. The reason Idaho's reimbursement rates are $2,000 is because the state of Idaho, Idaho Fish and Game, routes $200,000 a year of license and tag sales through the F4WM program to bolster targeting of wolves where it's needed most, and it's working, right? They first asked us to kind of prove the program. They said, we're going to give you some money. You show me that it works. So we went into some units, we increased reimbursement rates in some units that had very minimal wolf harvest over the years where they had livestock depredation. 43% of the years harvested, of the wolves harvested that year were taken from those units where they had never seen harvest before. The incentive works. It gets people into those areas and to do the work that's needed without costing taxpayers a whole bunch of money. So, as a trapper or a hunter who happens to go out and harvest a wolf, you pay your $40 to be a member. You start saving your receipts for anything that helped get you in the woods to harvest a wolf. Hats, boots, gloves, guns, ammo, optics, your backpack, your four-wheeler, your snow machine, whatever it happens to be. You harvest a wolf, you check it in with the state. Here in FWP, they're going to give you a wolf harvest, I think it's the wolf harvest mortality report, something like that. You're going to send us a copy of that report and a copy of your receipts. We're going to cut you a check. You keep the wolf, do with it what you want. You can sell it, you can tan the hide, you can keep it as a memento, whatever it happens to be. We've done that almost 2,800 times and have never missed a payment. I'm very proud of that fact. So what else does your membership do? Well, it also gives you a voice at commission and the Game Commission and legislative session, and in all things related to wolf management. We work really hard to educate the decision makers on the importance and complexities of wolf management. After a great amount of testimony this session at many hearings in the state capitol here in Montana by F4WM, the Outdoor Heritage Coalition, the Montana Sportsmen for Fish and Wildlife, the Montana Trappers, and other partner organizations that we're really blessed to get to work with this season, HB 219, allowing reimbursement for all lawfully harvested wolves, including SB 200 wolves. HB 259, to allow the use of thermals and infrared scopes to control wolves. HB 554, removing the requirement for FWP to classify wolves as either a fur bearer or as a big game species, all passed and have been signed by the governor or are waiting to be signed. We were also instrumental in defeating many bills that could otherwise thwart our mission. HB 101 was intended to reclassify wolves as fur bearers, which could have been really positive had they not removed all of the positive aspects of changing the wolf classification to fur bearers while keeping all the negatives within the bill. So we had to oppose that one, unfortunately, but we were able to defeat it. HB 436, which would have required trappers to advertise their trap locations with signage, inviting theft and other issues that arise with such an occasion, that was defeated. HB 427 requiring trapping setbacks and removing setback exemptions from regions 1 and 2 that we worked hard to obtain over the last couple of years were all defeated. Unfortunately, some of what we put much effort into also didn't make it to the finish line. There's still a lot of work to do, but we learned a great deal, and we're looking forward to next session, and we'd love to have you be a part of it. I can tell you this, if sportsmen had showed up in the State House the way that the antis do, the preservation extremist groups who don't want wolves managed in any way, if sportsmen had showed up to the degree that those folks show up, many of those bills would have passed. The takeaway, please join us in attending Montana FWP Commission meetings to better learn how you can be a part of creating the positive change that we seek, right? When I first started going to commission meetings, I had no idea how the rules were made. I was upset at our game department because I thought that they were the bad guy. I went in there ready to fight, right? I was upset. I didn't understand why they weren't making the positive changes that I wanted to see. I didn't know the process. And over a handful of years of going to every commission meeting, I learned a ton. And I learned that there is a program and a process, and there's mechanisms that you can utilize to create the positive change that we're all seeking. We'd love to have you join us and be a part of that. Next legislative session, if you have the opportunity to attend in Helena at the Capitol in person, when you hear those bills are coming up, we would love to have you there. Come sit next to me. Come give testimony. It's important for those guys to hear from you. I can tell you that when folks who don't want any management of wildlife show up on buses that came out of the city, and those individuals, as they exit the bus, are handed a script to state and a T-shirt, and they flood that room, it's really difficult for your representatives to stand there and say, yes, I'm representing what the public wants. There's 5 of us and 45 of them. We need your help. We need your help. If you can't attend in person because you got a job, take an hour off of work and Zoom in. You can Zoom in and testify just the same. If you can't do that, sit down in an evening and write an email and send it in. It's valuable, and your voice matters. Let it be heard. So F4WM also hosts educational events where our most productive wolfers educate new members to help them be productive and not to educate our wolves before they can be removed. This year's Wolfer Summit will be held August 7th through the 10th. Now, I can tell you I've personally trapped 43 wolves and shot 2, and that's not, I don't say that in a bragatory way. I'm not good at this. There's men in this room, I can tell you, who are very good at this. That Wolfer Summit, I learned more talking to the individuals that attended last year than I did 5 years beating my head against the wall in the woods. Firsthand experience. There's guys there that had over 1,200 wolves under their belt. We had 4 people there that had each taken more than 750 wolves. When you have that level of experience and you're able to talk to those guys, you start learning a whole lot more about how wolves work. And I can tell you from experience, people think that because I promote this program that I hate wolves. I have more respect for wolves than any other animal that we have. They are the smartest, most cunning, hardest animal to dupe that we have. I guarantee you that. I grew up off the grid. I've been a hunter and a fisherman my entire life. I guided elk hunters for 8 years. Wolves are an amazing critter. They just need to be controlled. We've got to manage their numbers. It's important. Join us at the Wolfer Summit if you too want to be a part of the solution and learn how to control wolf populations. You can sign up on our website at f4wm.org under Wolfer Summit in the events. In my opinion, those wolfers are the real heroes of wildlife conservation, not to be confused with preservation. Those of you that have heard me speak, you'll know that hijacking the term conservationist is one of my biggest pet peeves. How often do you hear in the news headlines, conservation group sues the state of Montana over managing wolves? You will never hear a true conservationist suing a state management agency for properly managing its wildlife. Those are preservation extremists. If you don't know the difference, conservation is wise use without abuse. I'm a conservationist. I wholeheartedly believe in making use of our natural resources, but I also believe in taking care of it. I believe in standing up and making sure that things are done right. Preservationists believe in no use at all. Preservation extremists are who files those lawsuits, not conservationists. I'd venture to bet that most of the people in this room are conservationists as well. When you hear people hijack our term, take it back. Shut them down. Don't let them use it. I'm a conservationist, by golly. and I'll never sue the state for properly managing their wildlife. I can tell you that. And thank you all in the crowd for supporting sound science-based wildlife management. Again, if you like what you've heard, you'd like to learn more about F4WM, please join us. We'd love to have you as a member. You can sign up right out front on the way out at the front desk there. If you'd like to volunteer, you want to be a part of this chapter and see it grow, create an opportunity to go sit at a trade show booth and share the message with other people who are like-minded, please join the chapter. Fill out that volunteer card that's on your table, and on your way out tonight, drop it off with them. I really appreciate you all being here. We're all here to have a good time supporting a great cause. So have a little fun, get a drink if you need it. Open your hearts to the message and your wallets to the cause. Let's put our money where our mouth is and generate some funding to control wolf overabundance right here in Montana. Thank you for your support.